All right, let's get right into it. We're cracking open a book that makes a pretty huge promise to solve one of life's greatest mysteries using cold, hard science. It's called The Man's Guide to Women, and it claims to have secrets, scientifically proven secrets, from the famous Love Lab about what women are really looking for. So, yeah, let's see what's inside.
You ever feel like trying to understand your partner is like being handed a ridiculously complicated piece of machinery with no instruction manual? Well, you're definitely not alone. The authors get it. They say for a lot of guys, it can feel like you're completely lost in what they call the vast, enigmatic world that is woman.
But here's the big idea, the real game changer this book proposes. What if you could trade all that confusion for actual clarity? What if relationships weren't about guesswork at all, but about data? What if it really could be a science?
So, to kick things off, the book frames this whole thing with a very, very clear choice. When it comes to relationships, the authors say men basically fall into one of two camps. You're either a hero or a zero.
And you can see the two paths laid out right here. On one side, you've got the zero. He's the guy who's surrounded by the rubble of his failed attempts, blaming everyone else, and, well, he ends up pretty lonely. But then you have the hero. He's the one who figures it out. He learns, he understands, and he builds something that actually lasts. The whole point of this guide is to show you how to choose that second path.
And here it is. This is the bombshell. Really, the core idea of the entire book. It turns out it's not some big, unsolvable mystery. The science is incredibly clear. A man's actions, what you do, is the single most important factor. So think about that. The power to make or break the relationship, it's largely in your hands.
So a huge claim like that, where does it even come from? Well, it comes from decades of serious scientific research done in a place that the media nicknamed the Love Lab. Let's take a look at how they actually figured all this out.
Before we go any further, just look at this number, 94%. The lead researcher, Dr. John Gottman, can listen to a couple talk for just a few minutes and predict with 94% accuracy if they're going to end up divorced. That is an absolutely staggering, almost unbelievable level of insight.
And that crazy accuracy comes from a true research powerhouse. You've got Dr. John Gottman, who's basically the world's leading marriage researcher, and his wife, Dr. Schwartz Gottman, a brilliant clinical psychologist. And their work isn't just a small study. We're talking about over 40 years of scientific research, observing more than 3,000 real couples. This is built on a mountain of real-world data.
So how in the world did they do it? How do you turn something as messy as love and arguments into actual hard data? Let's pull back the curtain and see how they decode relationships inside the lab.
This is where it gets really cool. They didn't just ask people questions. No, they brought couples in and videotaped them talking about everything, from how their day went to their biggest conflicts. And while they were talking, they were hooked up to sensors measuring their heart rate, their breathing, even how much they sweat. Then, and this is the crazy part, they went back and analyzed every single second of those interactions, every facial twitch, every change in tone. But the most important step, they followed these same couples for up to 20 years to see which of those tiny behaviors led to a happy relationship and which ones led to a breakup.
Okay, so the science is impressive. It's rock solid. We get it. But so what? Why does any of this actually matter to you? What's the real, tangible payoff for putting in the work to be a hero? Well, the data has some pretty amazing answers.
Look at this. The research is clear that getting this stuff right impacts literally every part of your life. Guys in happy, healthy relationships, they don't just feel better. They actually make more money. They have more sex and better sex. They live longer, get sick less often, and even stay mentally sharper as they get older. This isn't just about your love life. It's about your entire life.
So that's the bottom line, right? This isn't some book about cheesy pickup lines or manipulative tricks. It's a roadmap based on decades of science for becoming that hero in your relationship, for being the guy who succeeds. Which brings us to the ultimate question. After all of this, 40 years of research, 3,000 couples, thousands of hours of data, what did they discover is the #1 thing women want from a man? Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?